In the last part, we saw that Chu Xia was trying to say something to Yuwen Yue. From behind him, Chu Xiao spread open her arms and approached Yuwen Yue with her hands passing through between his arm and waist. Her pristine white skin brushed against the soft silk on his body as the golden embroideries rubbed against her white wrist. In the quiet breeze, her hands clasped together and tightened before his body, before walking up in small steps and burying her face into his back. A teardrop fell from her corner of her eye, dripping onto his green clothes. It made a pattern. Yuwen Yue, I am so sorry. Her voice seemed so sad, like a child left out alone in a raging snowstorm. Snow started falling. It was very light, and in fact, before it landed on the ground, the snowflakes had already melted. Yet they peeled up and formed a small layer on their shoulders. With their skin against each other, they would even feel each other's breath. This was the first time that she had voluntarily embraced him. The river of the time seemed to flow before their minds. As the scenes from their memories flashed past and quietly vanished, it seemed like fate had made a fool of them right from the start. After so many twists and turns, they finally arrived at this stage. Yet, even as the dust settled and they distanced themselves from the battlefield, they were still weighted down heavily by fate. Yet, even as the dust settled and they distanced themselves from the battlefield, they were still weighted down heavily by fate. A row of birds flew past them in the sky above. Lining up in one straight line, they soared to the south. Gradually, they go further and slowly vanished from sight. She finally let go of the embrace. Chu Xia withdrew her hands. His shirt was exceedingly cold, such that her fingers were numbed by the frigidness. His back was still upright, as though nothing in this world could ever defeat him. He was ever so handsome, with the freezing aura exuding from his figure, as though he wanted to freeze up all of his surroundings. With nothing except empty air between her arms, Chu Xiao bit her lips before forcing a smile. Take care.
Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance.
With a whoosh, there was a wave of wind from afar. The wind bell erupted into a flurry of ringing that suddenly seemed to imbue the atmosphere with life. Yuwen Yue walked out of the pavilion with his expensive boots, stepping onto the wheat that had already wilted. The plant was bent and lied on the ground lifelessly. With another blow of wind, it broke from its roots and was blown far into the mountain. Mounting his horse, along with the guards of Yue, they whipped their horses. The sound of our horses galloping could be heard in the distance. With the flurry of galloping and the quietness of the main road was shattered as the caps fluttered in the wind and the wire flags waved towards the north.
I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see.
Ultimately, he did not turn around to ever steal one more glance at her. He was still the same handsome and proud person he was, with his unbending back that sat on the horse, along with his high-class coat and jet-black hair, dashing off in the cold winds and gradually disappearing into the distance among the flying dust. Before long, even his figure vanished.
Sometimes you need to go.
The morning fog had still not disappeared, as the road ahead seemed to be clouded with a veil. As the wheat was blown up by the wind around, it spun circles, not knowing where to go. Chuxia was suddenly reminded of the Yanbei highlands when she had been sabotaged by Cheng Yuan and sunk into a trap by the Wei army. That night she had quietly looked upon his figure in the same way as he vanished into the vast snowy plains. That time he had too not turned back, yet he was exceedingly fast as he walked while leading his horse in his thick coat. That day there was heavy snow floating down from the heavens, and as the snowflakes landed on her eyelashes, she felt so cold that she wanted to cry. Yet, with just a blink of her eye, so many years had passed.
Like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time.
They parted again. When will the two of you meet again? Will there be a chance? We really don't know. Please stay with me and we will see.
We can sit together. It's so beautiful. You and me.
Thanks again for staying with me. Please share and comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Like the videos to know the further story of the season. Thank you.
Forever free.